Hey guys, Kyle here. I am at the launch of Film Fest 919 in beautiful Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I've actually never been here. This is a really cool town, and it's an awesome place to launch the Film Fest 919. The big movie that launched the festival is the much talked about Florida Project, which is, I've got to say, an absolutely amazing film. It really shines a light on some very interesting things that are currently happening in society, and you've got to really see it to appreciate just how pervasive this problem is, and it is beautifully done. I highly recommend you see it. We're going to be talking with Chris Bergoch, one of the writers of the Florida Project, coming up here soon after we see it. So stay tuned. All right, so we are here with Chris. He is the writer and producer of the Florida Project, which we just saw and was absolutely amazing. So, Chris, I know that your mom is in Orlando. Is that part of what inspired this for you?
It's what led us to the story. I would go visit my mom in Orlando, and when I was there, I would borrow her car, and I would drive the car to and from the Disney parks. And when I would be stopped at a red light, I would notice some kids playing in a motel, playing wiffle ball, playing hide and seek. And then once I noticed, because they didn't look like tourists to me, and I was wondering what they were all, this group of kids were doing playing on the side of the road, I started other motels too. And I started doing research and found out about this, what we call the hidden homeless problem in America. It's happening all over, in all cities. But the fact that it was happening in the shadow of Cinderella Castle and on the doorstep of the most magical place on earth kind of tugged on my heartstrings, and I felt like there's a story there.
This really, it's interesting because it really kind of shows in a area known for meticulousness and image and beauty, and everything's very showy. It kind of shows an underbelly that's rarely, if ever, seen, and right next door. So was that part of why you chose Orlando to set it in?
Yeah, again, it's that juxtaposition that Sean Baker and I were sort of intrigued by, and we always try to find stories about, well, I don't know if we try to find them, but the stories present themselves to us about people on the fringes of certain aspects of society, and it seemed to be like you have 43, and I love Disney so much, and I've gone to Disney all my life, but I've always been in the bubble of the 43 square miles of their resort. And then when you go right outside that radius, you see there's an entirely different situation going on. And like I said, it tugged at my heartstrings, and it felt like you had sort of a modern day fairy tale there in a way. And that's what led, I called Sean immediately. We started writing a treatment, and from day one, we always knew that it was going to be about a little girl told from her point of view, and single parent household, not because it was something that we found to be true a lot of the times down there, but also it's a Disney trope in a way, and kind of tried to work that into the movie as well, wherever we could.
Thank you. And I thought that it was interesting that you did write it from the point of view of a child, because you have that child's essence associated with Disney World and Orlando in general, because of Disney's reign sort of over Orlando. So I thought that was extremely smart storytelling to do kind of such what seems like a very hard life through the eyes of a child in the shadow of Disney.
Yeah, that was what intrigued me the most about all the kids that were part of that life, is that it didn't matter. They were having just as much fun as I had in my backyard growing up when I was 6, playing hide and go seek, and they were making their own magic kingdom. And that's what sort of, I think a lot of kids that I see these days, like relatives, they're just so buried in their iPhones and iPads, and it's like hurting their imagination. Like, a lot of kids don't go out and just play anymore. And so that was also really cool, is that these kids reminded me of me as a kid, just going out and playing and making up like invisible spaceships and going to imaginary planets. And we really tried to infuse that into the story.
And you did a lot of research. You said 2 years worth of research, I believe. So what kinds of stories In other words, was this an amalgam of different stories? Is this a common story? What did you learn from all of that research?
Yeah, no, we didn't really take any one story per se. It's just about immersing ourselves in the environment and sort of not doing anything exploitive and not doing anything the way it wouldn't actually go down. We wanted to be very grounded in reality, and if there are certain things in this movie that are going to happen, we want it to happen the way it would actually happen and not sort of fictionalize it. And an example is that when we were doing our research, we learned about one day out of every month, people that are staying in the motels have to vacate so they don't establish residency in the motels. It's like a loophole about how they could get around basically living there without being considered actually living there. And that's something that we would have never been able to imagine. And so we heard that, and that would make for a good sequence. How could we use that? And one thing leads to another. Okay, we're gonna get them out of the motel, but we'll also show how hard it could be. Maybe another motel doesn't want them. Yeah. And then that's what leads to a sleepover scene in the film. So reality kind of led to our fictionalized story.
Did you find that there was hope in all of this and all of the research you did and all of the stories that you heard, all of the people that you met? Was there hope there? Was there hope alive for these people?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think even while we were shooting this movie, a lot of the people that were helping us just by greeting us with open arms and talking to us and telling us about their lives in the area, we saw them actually, being able to move on. And I think that there has to be hope. In fact, it's the Hope 192, the Community Hope Center, is the name of the actual place where we were greeted with open arms by a woman named Mary Downey, who helped us out immensely, giving us access into her stories about all the people in that life. And so, yeah, of course there's hope. There has to be hope.
Hope, yeah. Where were we? Hope and... Oh, do you think that there is an answer, a solution to what we get a glimpse of in the film? As I'm watching the film, I was thinking, I want to help. I want to go there right now and figure out how to help these people. Do they need help? Is there a way to help them? Is there a solution to this, or is this just something that will always exist all over the country?
Sean Baker was asked at a Q&A that we did, who's the villain of this film? And that was a really good, interesting question. And he said it was basically the economy crashing in 2008. And I think that, solution, I'm not the man to say, but I do know that things are being done in the community. Even Disney donated $500,000 last year to this, and I think more and more people are actually becoming aware of this problem and trying to find solutions. And people like Mary at the Hope Center, they're doing lots. People are donating, and I hear that they actually want to build low income housing on their property as a step in the right direction. Because when you think about it, the people that are living the life in the motels, it's a lot of the times it's because they don't have good credit, or they don't have any credit, and they can't do the first and last month's deposit on an apartment. But it's not cheap what they're living. I mean, sometimes it could be like $1,100 or $1,200 a month when you do the math of paying weekly like that.
One of my strongest beliefs is that people telling their story has the power to change the world, and I learned that myself through, as we were talking about before, the Oprah thing. And I realized the power of telling your own story, how it can change somebody else's life immensely. So you guys, in what you did with this film, really are shining a light on something that doesn't often get talked about or seen. So I think it's amazing. It's a powerful film. Thank you for making it. And finally, what can we expect next from you?
It changes from one day to the next. Right now, there's a story that's been clogged up in here for a while, and it's an unconventional love story, and also hopefully lots of great stories that, it means a lot what you just said. We just want to tell stories that have heart and that touch people. So that you can guarantee will be an element of whatever the particular story is.
Awesome. And where can we follow you?
Oh yeah, so on Twitter and Instagram, it's just my name, which is a weird name. It's at Chris Bergoch on Twitter and Instagram. ChrisBergoch.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Chris. I really appreciate it. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in from beautiful Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I am signing out from Film Fest 919 launch. Talk to you guys soon. Don't forget to like us and let me know what you think of in the comments. If you've seen the Florida Project, I want to hear your thoughts on this. This is an awesome topic that I want to delve into more. Thanks.